This is a Shamail from Friends of the Dark, coming to you live from Shale Ghul. This past JordanCon, thanks to WoT Up, I had the opportunity to interview several JordanCon attendees to ask them what JordanCon meant to them. Let's now get to the dark heart of the matter. This is Jason Lilly, roving reporter for WoT Up. Just getting to know some people here at the convention. What's your name, sir? Larry Daniels, there we go. What's your journey been like in the Wheel of Time fandom?
I started in 1990. I was the original books when they came out. And the fandom I got introduced to probably around 2001. Okay. I started that with 13th Depository, then Dragon Mount, and finally met all these wonderful people in person.
What number JordanCon is this for you?
This is only my 4th JordanCon, but it's not the number, it's the experience.
Well, that's a nice segue. What does JordanCon mean to you personally?
To me, it's family. This is our chosen family. You don't get the opportunity to do that, and to have 800, 900 people that you can choose to just see once a year and hug and know that it's true. That's what it means to me.
Love that answer, especially the chosen part. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jason here, reporting for WoT Up. Who do I have here with me?
Paul Balachik of Eridani Studios.
What's your journey been like with the Wheel of Time fandom?
So I started reading the books in 1998. It was the summer between high school and college, and I read them, fell in love with them, and then some buddies of mine were like, "You really need to come down to this convention in Atlanta, Georgia called JordanCon." And I missed JordanCon 1. I started coming in year 2. I sold a pair of elf ears to this young girl named Ariel, and when her aunt came to pay for them, someone afterwards was like, "Oh yeah, that's Robert Jordan's widow," and I almost crapped my pants. Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't realize, like, I do so many conventions around the country, and like, the guests of honor are usually like advertised, and you know who they are. Didn't realize that, like, Harriet McDougal's just walking around JordanCon as like an attendee, and you're like, say what?
That's awesome. Well, you've been to every con but one.
Every con but one.
So what year are we in now?
16.
16.
The only reason I know
15.
that is because, the first year I was a vendor at JordanCon, and then on Saturday night they didn't have anything scheduled, so I asked them if they wanted me to have a dance party, and Jay Darrow went out to his car, and he had a portable speaker that he had brought, because apparently at JordanCon 1 they didn't have any microphones. So he had a portable speaker, we plugged it in, and I started dancing, and there was like 4 of us dancing for like 30 minutes. And then someone went upstairs and told Jennifer and Jimmy, they're like, "Hey, there's a dance party going on downstairs."
Impromptu.
And Jimmy's like, "There's a what?" And by the end of the night, there was like 100 people on the dance floor. It was insane. And then the next morning, Jimmy came up to me and he said, "Hey, so would you like to host our dance party every year?" So went from being a vendor to running the dance party to then essentially being in charge of the dealer's hall, then being in charge of the dealer's hall and art show, and now I'm currently the sales officer for JordanCon, so I help oversee the store, the dealer's hall, the art show, and registration, because apparently being an artist and a vendor is not enough for me.
You. You're a busy man, you're killing yourself, Paul.
Hopefully not.
So what's your, what does JordanCon mean to you personally?
So I think one of the reasons why I donate so much of my time back to JordanCon is because JordanCon is the reason I became a licensed Wheel of Time artist. During year 1, I met Harriet and her team. Then Taveran Tees started making t-shirts, and pretty soon JordanCon, it was right before JordanCon 4, our first art show, Taveran asked me to do a design for them, which was titled Prince of Ravens. There's a silhouette of Matt Coffin with like an explosion of ravens coming out from behind him. And I ended up asking them if I could sell art prints of that. And they said, "Oh yeah, you gotta talk to Harriet and Team Jordan about that." And I was like, "What?" So all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm signing a contract. I became a licensed artist. I got to make artwork in my favorite book series, which was just magical, and just, it blew my mind. Like, I always joke that if I could go back in time and tell high school me that one day I'd be making officially licensed Wheel of Time artwork, that like course, I think high school me would have just been like, "Don't make fun of me, man." But so it was a dream come true, and like all of that happened because of this convention. And that's the craziest part, is like the people who have had stories of like having wine and having like dinner with Harriet McDougal, or like sitting down at a table and realizing that like Team Jordan was there and they could ask them questions about their favorite series. And it's just, I've been doing conventions now since 2004, and I've never been to a convention that's the same as JordanCon.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate all that. So this is Jason, serving as roving reporter for WoT Up. Who do I have here with me today?
I'm Billy Todd. I am the Sanderson track director here at JordanCon and a longtime Wheel of Time fan.
So what's your journey been with the Wheel of Time fandom?
It's been very long. I've been a fan of the Wheel of Time since we were waiting for the Fires of Heaven when I was in 7th grade. So it's been a very long time.
You're making me feel old, Billy.
Yeah, well, Jordan will do that. I've been part of the fandom since it was people on Usenet trying to get Dark Friend socials put together through the boards, and now through JordanCon. It's been, and now the internet and everything else has been a long journey.
How many Jordan cons have you been to?
I've been to every JordanCon since except the first one.
Okay, so 15 total?
15, yeah.
What does JordanCon mean to you personally?
Oh gosh, JordanCon, it's really hard to overstate how important the family is here for me. I'm also JordanCon's lawyer, so I'm involved with the con throughout the year. I have an enormous number of my friends are actually chosen family from here, people I never met before I came to JordanCon. And to be honest, the only reason I still have a Facebook account is because of everybody that's in my JordanCon crew. So it has a very the fact that we're here 3 days a year, 4 days a year, the impact is much greater than that.
Love it, Billy. Thank you very much.
Great. Happy to.
Hi there, I'm Jason Lilly, roving reporter for WoT Up here at JordanCon. Who am I with right now?
My name is Tom DeSimone, affectionately called Tom Ass by some.
Ass.
If you ask people, you'll hear, Tom's great, or you'll hear Tom's an asshole. They're both true. I treat people accordingly. No, but my name's Tom DeSimone. I currently am working for Dragonmount. Not that that's going to change anytime soon, but I used to do guest services for JordanCon for 12 years. And my shameless Wheel of Time flex that I really only get to use with the Wheel of Time community, so like I'll use it as much as possible, is that I got a character based on me in the books, Bayard. In the final book, who is I'm a construction worker, and my nickname at for JordanCon, like the first 6 was the Butcher. So he works with stone, and his family used to be butchers. So yeah, it was interesting. It was a lot of fun.
Reminds me of Diablo for some reason.
The Butcher, yeah. I have an apron that has the Butcher on it.
Yeah.
They got it for me because they were like, "This fits for you."
It does.
Yeah.
So what has your journey been like with Wheel of Time and the Wheel of Time fandom?
Okay, so the Wheel of Time, for me, to be honest, has been like it. I started reading it in 8th grade, so I want to say you're 12 in like 8th grade, and I was severely bullied when I was a kid. Before my growth spurt. When I hit I was 6, I was almost the height that I am now and weight that I am now when I was at the end of 8th grade. Okay. I shot up to 6 foot, but before that, I, didn't have a lot of confidence in defending myself, and I got bullied a lot, and Wheel of Time was an escapism for me. And I had a fantastic teacher that allowed me to, honestly, like straight up, I mean, she's retired now, so she won't get in trouble. She allowed me to cut class and then just sit in her room and read. And it really, it sounds a little cliche, but I'm 100% serious when I say like it saved my life. And then cut to, I'm 19 or 20, and I meet my now wife, and I sent her. We met and we talked and we hit it off a little bit. And I sent her an email, and she said she almost didn't reply and just completely blew me off because I like abbreviated you with the letter U, and I was like, I did like really cheesy like dude bro internet slang shit, and that's because I'm terrible at spelling. But I mentioned that I was reading rereading a Wheel of Time book at the time, and asked if she read anything, and she had already loved the series and voraciously took it in college, and she said that was why she replied to the email. So it kind of got me my wife too, which was great.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how many JordanCons have you attended?
Oh, that's perfect timing. This is my favorite piece of swag on my badge this year. It's from the first JordanCon. This is my badge from the first JordanCon.
So all 16?
What?
All 16 JordanCons?
Yep, all 16 JordanCons. And see, people watching might notice the first name there. Mm-hmm. It's spelt a little differently than it is now in the books. So there's a funny story behind that, actually. So do you recognize this name? I know you didn't sign up for trivia for Wheel of Time, but...
No.
Okay. So Barrett Bell Medar was Demand Trader. So
okay.
When I signed up...
I should know that,
yeah,
right?
It's okay. It's all right. When I signed up for... You didn't know that I was going to give you trivia.
Yeah, I did.
Now,
if you went with a lawnmower Integra,
there you go.
I did that.
When I signed up for Tarvalon.net, I tried to use the name Tom because it's my freaking name.
Nice. Yeah.
And they were like, no, you can't name yourself after a character in the books. And I'm like, it's
But that's
my
my
name. Like in kindergarten, I used the H because my mom told the story that my friend Christopher, when they abbreviated his name on his cubby, it was Chris with an H. And they took my H away, and apparently I threw a fit when I was 4. So I've always spelled my name with an H, and they were like, no, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I want this name. And they took it, and no one noticed that it was a name from the book for years. I'm like,
It's an interesting happenstance because every time I do see your name as THON.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously, yeah. But then when they adapted my character into the book, Brandon was like, we have to change it a little, right? And I'm like, obviously. And so that's where Bayard came from. And then I changed. I leveraged my friends and in Tarvalon.net, and they changed it on the website as well for me because they love me. So yeah. So they made it Bayard on the website when Brandon told me they were changing it, and then when the story came out, it was updated. So it was nice.
What does JordanCon, all of this, mean to you personally?
So JordanCon to me personally, so at our wedding, there were more people that I've met through JordanCon and Dragonmount and Tarvalon than my family almost. Like 3 people in my wedding party were people from JordanCon. The current accessibility manager was one of my groomsmen. His mother, who was the direct officer of operations, Jenna Sellers, is my Aes Sedai on Tarvalon.net. I'm a Brown Warder for life. But she was she helped decorate our entire wedding. We did our own decorations for the wedding. She set it up for us. She did a reading at our wedding. She didn't want to be a bridesmaid, so she was like, I'll help in every other way.
Yeah.
So her and then the old Amerlin seat of Tarvalon.net was in our wedding, and there was the my chosen family is from the Wheel of Time community.
Thank you for using the word chosen. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
It's my chosen family matters more to me than a lot of my regular family.
same here.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And honestly, I've met a lot of people. I never so I don't know if I've ever told this story actually. I didn't have any intention on doing podcasting or anything like that. And I never thought to do it. But
Jason and Kathy emailed me in 2019, and they were like, "Hey, we want to call you next week. Is that okay?" I'm like, "All right." And they're like, "Hey, Jason wants to start like doing like actual podcasting and stuff, but he doesn't want to do it. And your name was the first one that we thought of. You, Kitty, and Ebony were the first three people that we thought of when we thought of people that we'd like to represent Dragonmount, like, you know, like other than just fandom wise and being, you know, like helpers. Will you do that?" And I'm like, "Are you sure you want me to do that?" And they were like, "Yeah." So that's how it started. And being able to meet so many more people through doing that has been a lot of fun. Like, especially like the first time reader shows, I thoroughly enjoy talking to people as they read the books for the first time.
I think I participated with you at one point where you were doing an online podcast thing with the lovely puppets.
Yay!
And
My Felt brothers.
I was popping questions at you that like you were like, I don't know. I think you sent me a message saying like wow or something at that point.
Okay.
In terms of just our interaction there. So you do a wonderful job.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
This has been an interview with Tom DeSmo.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Bye.
This is Jason, roving reporter for WoT Up here at JordanCon. I'm with Michael Livingston, who's guest of honor here this year. Michael, could you tell us a little bit about your journey in the Wheel of Time fandom?
Happy to. So I found Wheel of Time when it was first coming out as a teenager. Most people probably know this story because I tell it in Origins of the Wheel of Time, about how important this was to me growing up and how incredibly fortunate I am to actually be involved at this level now. It's a dream come true, though I never could have dreamed it because it's too extraordinary. But yeah, I wrote Origins of the Wheel of Time, and they were kind enough to let me come and hang out at JordanCon once again.
We appreciate your presence here.
Of course.
Most definitely. How many JordanCons have you been to now?
It's a terrific question. I would have to count them. I don't. A lot.
A lot.
A lot. I've been to quite a few. It's a I sold my first novel at JordanCon. This is just a really cool place full of amazing people and like amazing conversations. It's just a really great thing.
So that's a nice segue into this. What personally is special for you about JordanCon?
It's the people here. It's like it's a family, and getting to see like a reunion, right? You don't see your family all the time, but then at Christmas you all get together. This is that. Seeing friendly faces, amazing people that I've had conversations with that I don't get to see normally because they don't live in Charleston. I don't live where they live, but here we're all together. It's just really, really a wonderful family dynamic that is fostered from the top down here.
True enough. Thanks for your time, Michael.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
This is Jason, roving reporter for WoT Up. Who am I speaking with today?
I am Sarah J. Sover. I am the author of the Fractured Phase series from Falstaff Books, which is an urban fantasy series about a fairy godmother who goes rogue to hunt down the serial killer who offed her first princess. And also the comedic fantasy Double Crossing the Bridge, about a group of drunk trolls pulling a heist.
Very fun. So, what's your journey been like with the Wheel of Time fandom?
Okay, so I binged every one of these books while I was pregnant with my now 10-year-old. Therefore, I kind of dove headfirst into them. I could not tell you what happened in which book or anything like that because it was all just one big blur for me.
Yeah.
But I went to WorldCon 2016 and I met Brandon and Jason Denzel there. And Jason found out that we were from Atlanta and said, "Oh, you need to go to JordanCon." And that honestly kind of changed the trajectory of my career.
Awesome. Yeah, Jason's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
How many JordanCons have you been to now?
My first would have been 2017, I believe, and I have been to every one since. The first time I came as a guest, as a attendee, and then ever since then I've been a guest. And I'm going to knock things over on camera. That is
Yay.
so on brand.
I can edit that out.
It's okay. It's very on brand.
So, what does JordanCon mean to you personally?
JordanCon is my home con. It is the first place that I have felt validated as both a writer and as a person. I moved around a lot growing up, and I've always been a nerd, and I've always been weird. I have a strange relationship with the word weird as a result. But when I first started coming to JordanCon, people they didn't look at me like I was from another planet. I actually wrote a blog all about this because that's how much JordanCon means to me. Instead, it feels like I'm actually like celebrated for these things the crazy, I don't know, can I cuss on this? The crazy shit that comes out of my mouth is actually validated, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the world, but it's wonderful for me.
Love it, Sarah. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Oh, I'm also in the first 3 JordanCon anthologies. I probably should have said that.
Okay. I'll make sure John gets a link in there for you.
What's that?
I'll make sure John gets a link to your blog post and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But
Hello all, this is Jason Lilly. I have served as a roving reporter for WoT Up this year at JordanCon. Really appreciate the opportunity to serve in this function. Now that JordanCon is wrapped up, I figured I would answer my own questions. So let's start off with what my journey has been with the Wheel of Time fandom. So I personally started reading the Wheel of Time in 1991. I was working in a bookstore after having graduated from high school, so age of 18. And in that bookstore, we had the opportunity to once a month tear off the covers of 3 paperbacks, and then the book was ours. I've always been a lover of the fantasy drama, just something about the escapism, being able to get out of my own head, the mundanity of day-to-day life. I'm drawn to fantasy. The cover of The Eye of the World by Terrell Sweet initially kind of drew me in, and I think that's sometimes a factor, especially in a bookstore environment where the cover art can influence you to buy a book. So I ripped, I think at that point, the first 3 books were out. So I ripped off all 3, and my love affair with the Wheel of Time began, especially in connection in terms of my age and my time in my life that paralleled the sort of the protagonist of the story. As far as my fandom connection, while I always kind of paid attention to what was going on in the Wheel of Time, especially after RJ's death, all of us were saddened by that, and I was so grateful when the Tower of Midnight first came out. I'm a librarian, so at that point in time, I was just using the library for my books, just based on where I was in my life and not having a lot of space for additional books. So I was the first person on the hold list for Tower of Midnight, which I was kind of proud of at the time. But anyway, I had watched Winter's Dragon, and then Harriet's response to that, the announcement that it was picked up by a major studio versus the Red Eagle fiasco that had been going on for so long. So I kind of joined, I'm a pretty heavy introvert, so I kind of joined Wheel of Time fan groups to find out what was going on with the show's development at that point. First joined the Wheel of Time Uncut in probably mid 2018. And something about that group, the toxicity factors kind of involved in that particular group just kind of drew me in terms of fighting against that toxicity. I started finding more positive environments to participate in the fandom. In 2020, I created my own Facebook group based on an interaction in the Wheel of Time TV series called The Friends of the Dark. That's kind of been my love child for quite some time. Created on Leap Day of 2020, which seemed appropriate. And I've continued to, expand my involvement in the fandom community since that point. So that kind of segues into the number of JordanCons I've been to. So this is my third JordanCon this year. And as far as my personal, what JordanCon personally means to me, it kind of mirrors what my Friends of the Dark group has meant to me. The idea, like when I first created the group, I didn't, day one, it was like, okay, I'm choosing 13 chosen admins to help me run the group, expand the group, that sort of thing. And some factor in terms of how all that played out really created a sense of family within our Modmen group, where we would be able to share of ourselves, like what was going on in our lives, talk about Wheel of Time, of course, and it was just a family for me, my chosen family. And I know we're Friends of the Dark sort of thing, but in terms of the Modmen group, and even some of the, like, a lot of our people in the group are some of the most moral, kind people that I love and appreciate in my life. So my first year at JordanCon, I started to get a sense of the fandom here that actually attend JordanCon on a more macro scale. And this has been iterated in multiple responses as far as JordanCon being chosen family. And I really consider JordanCon, people who attend it, people who have been involved in it for so long, as the heart of the Wheel of Time fandom. And every year I've come, I've created more and more connections with people, which mean a lot to me. And this family means a lot to me. So, Jason here, I thank myself, I don't know. So, this wraps up JordanCon for me. Hope to see everyone next year.
Hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm going to be doing this interview for WoT Up. Question 1. What has been my journey so far with the Wheel of Time fandom? I started listening to the books in April of 2021, In anticipation of the show, I had joined several groups on Facebook and various subreddits, where I'd post and occasionally create memes. Through these pages, I've made several good friends, and it's made me glad to be here. Question 2. How was my very first JordanCon? My very first JordanCon was amazing. I've never felt more comfortable just chatting up random strangers, and the environment felt very safe, and the people were all excellent. And a special shout out goes out to Valerie and April for helping me get my bearings not long after I walked into the hotel. Question 3. What was my most exciting experience at JordanCon? Easily, it was meeting all the people. I'm not kidding when I'm saying I spent far more time just talking with random strangers than I did going to panels. Question 4. Do I plan on attending JordanCon in the future? Absolutely, I'll go every year that I'm able to. Okay, thanks for having me, and I'll see you all again next year.